We saw this game month ago? Almost a month ago?
Yeah, it'll
Bama
be like 5 weeks between.
5 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Bama 41, Georgia 24. Game was dominated by Bryce Young, 26 of 44, 421 passes, passing yards, 3 TDs passing, a rushing TD. Stetson Bennett was through 3 TDs, but had a big pick. And, Saban is 24-1 against former assistants, which Kirby Smart is. Only Jimbo Fisher has beat him. Thoughts going into this game? I mean, this is going to get broken down a million ways, but just what would you say the key is for what are you focused on going into this game here, Pat?
My focus is Georgia's ability to affect Bryce Young. I think that's going to be not everything, but a huge, huge thing. They had 0 sacks of Young when they played in the SEC Championship Game. It's the only game all year Georgia did not record a sack. They had, I think, 42 of them on the season, and they lit up Michigan's quarterbacks. They've lit up every quarterback. They couldn't light up him, and that's partly due to the fact that Young is a superb athlete who could maneuver out of trouble a lot of times. But it's also due to the fact that while they blitzed some, they didn't throw a lot necessarily at him. I think they were more concerned about trying to bracket both wide receivers, Jamison Williams and John Mechie, because they were concerned that their corners were the weak link, and they are the weak link, although Darian Kendrick played awfully well against Michigan. Now, you've only got one of those 2 wide receivers to deal with, so I think you can be a little bit more hell-bent on getting to the quarterback up front, and so I would expect them to throw much more at Young in that respect, and like Bryce Young was brilliant in that game. I mean, he was awesome. I got to see him do it again because that was, I thought, by far the best game I've seen him play. He was really good against like New Mexico State and Southern Miss, and he was very good against Arkansas. I mean, he had a great season, but I also saw him struggle for 58 minutes against Auburn and struggle against LSU and struggle against Tennessee and at times struggle against Texas A&M. And so if I'm Georgia, I'm saying, man, our defense is better than them. And our defense is better than it showed, and we're going to go out and show it. We're going to play physical, and we are going to get after the quarterback, and then we'll see if they can possibly replicate that performance.
I will say this, I did one of these, I'm doing one of these stories for Yahoo later in the week where I talked to a bunch of coaches who played both teams, and they break it down. And I'm going to attempt to go a little bit outside my comfort zone here because I thought the best point came from an SEC DC who watched the SEC championship and then the semis. So Georgia runs what's called simulated pressures, right? And we've talked a little bit about these on the pod. They are basically if you rush somebody from like linebacker, for example, your defensive end drops into coverage, right? So you're not actually giving up a numeric advantage. You're just sort of taking one from, if you send in a rusher, you send somebody else out. And this coach thought that they were tipping their hand defensively when they were going to run simulated pressures, which meant they were going to play zone. And he felt like the combination of lack of pass rush, which Pat brought up, combined with pre-snap tipping through pre-snap motions, gave Bryce Young just a very clear picture of what to expect. And what we saw from him in that game is he was very comfortable and he knew exactly where to go. And that the simulated pressures became predictable, and it gave Bryce Young a chance to pick apart the defense like he did. I mean, I think that chess match and how they figure out how to generate pressure becomes, the focal point of the game we'll all be watching. And then it's your guy, Stetson Bennett, Dan, the law firm. Will Sully be able to hang in like he did against Michigan? I mean, he picked Michigan apart over the top, underneath, with his legs. He was dynamic. Does he transcend game manager, and can he hang in the pocket with Will Anderson barreling down on him and figure out a way to pull out a win?
Big deal. They beat Michigan with those quick passes to the side. I think Alabama's going to tackle in space better. And, we'll see. But this is a very much a coaching matchup. Like, this is very much. I mean, what does Stetson Bennett do? I guess we can move right to picking them. But I mean, my thing with this is like, you go into the game. Who's got the better quarterback? Alabama. Who's got the best player in the field? Will Anderson, Alabama. Who's got the best coach? Alabama. Who won the last time? Alabama. Like, I keep trying to talk myself into Georgia, and I try to, and then who am I supposed to never pick against? Alabama. Right?